Every legend begins in silence. Not with lights, not with cheers, but with doubt. A young dream, small and fragile, whispered into the night where no one believes. The world turns away. The world laughs. The world forgets. But inside that silence, something begins to grow. A fire too wild to be put out. Asterisk greatness never announces itself. It hides in the shadows, waiting for the moment when the world least expects it. Before the glory, before the name, there is only the struggle days. When the weight feels too heavy, nights when giving up seems easier than going on. Imagine a path where every step feels like it leads nowhere, where every effort is swallowed by failure, and every hand that should lift you up pushes you down instead. That is where the greatest stories begin, not in victory but in defeat. The story of the greatest of all time was no different. At first, nothing about it looked special. No crown, no throne, no promise from fate. Only a dream, fragile and trembling, held tightly by someone the world had already counted out. The days were long and merciless, the failures sharp and unkind. And yet, in that storm of rejection, something stronger began to form. Because greatness does not rise from ease, it is born in fire. Every morning brought another test. The body ached. The mind screamed, the heart whispered, "Stop." But stopping was not an option. Even when no one was watching, even when no applause echoed through the halls, the fight continued. Sweat became the language of survival. Pain became the proof of persistence. And every drop of sacrifice built the foundation of something the world had yet to see. The road was lonely, friends faded, support crumbled, dreams seemed too far to touch. Yet instead of collapsing, the silence became fuel. What others called failure became training. What others called weakness became strength. What others called impossible became destiny waiting to be written. It was not about being the best. Not yet. It was about refusing to fall. It was about choosing again and again to rise when falling seemed easier. The greatest do not rise because the path is clear. They rise because they refuse to turn away from the path no matter how dark it gets. And so, in that darkness, the spark grew brighter. From defeat came hunger. From hunger came discipline. And from discipline came a fire the world could no longer ignore. The one who once stood in shadows was no longer a whisper, but a storm, one that would rise. One that would fight, and one that would soon become unstoppable. Greatness was not a gift. It was not inherited nor given. It was earned. Earned in silence and pain in nights of endless struggle. And though no one knew it yet, the journey of the greatest of all time had already begun. Asterisk, the silence of struggle slowly begins to break. It doesn't shatter with one victory, nor explode with a sudden triumph. It cracks, little by little, under the weight of persistence. The world does not notice at first. Greatness is not a headline in its beginning. It is a whisper that grows, louder with each refusal to quit. What once seemed like endless failure begins to shift. Small sparks of progress light up the darkness. A fall that once lasted weeks now lasts only moments. A weight that once crushed now trembles beneath the strength it unknowingly created. The one who stumbled, the one who was doubted, begins to move differently, still unseen, but no longer weak. Every story of the greatest has this turning point, though it rarely looks like glory. It looks like early mornings when no one else wakes. It looks like sweat dripping onto the ground long after everyone else has stopped. It looks like rejection answered with sharper focus, defeat answered with harder work. No cheers, no crowd. Just the echo of determination bouncing against the walls of solitude. And in that echo, the world's greatest secret is forged. Greatness is not born, it is built. The climb is not without pain. Bones still ache, muscles still scream. The mind still tempts surrender. But there is something different now. There is rhythm in the pain, meaning in the sacrifice. Each drop of sweat carries a promise that someday all of this will matter. Someday the world will see. And so the struggle transforms from punishment into preparation. What once felt like chains now feels like armor. What once was heavy now feels like strength. Slowly, the whispers of doubt from others turn into whispers. of awe. Did you see that? Did you hear what they did? The same mouths that once mocked begin to wonder. The same eyes that once dismissed begin to watch. A presence is forming, a shadow stretching taller, stronger, undeniable. Still not yet the greatest, still not yet a legend, but no longer invisible. No longer forgotten. With each step forward, something within changes. This is not about proving them wrong anymore. It is not about silencing critics or chasing recognition. It becomes something deeper, something untouchable. It is about becoming more than what the world said was possible. It is about carving out a space where only the relentless can survive. It is about turning the impossible into inevitable. The journey now is filled with both light and darkness. Success arrives in small doses, victories that taste sweeter because of the bitterness that came before them. But with each step higher, the air grows thinner. Challenges no longer come from failure but from expectation. The eyes of the world begin to turn, and with them comes pressure heavier than any weight lifted in silence. To rise further is not just to fight opponents, but to fight fear, to fight time, to fight the version of yourself that whispers, "You've done enough." But enough is never enough. The one destined for greatness does not stop at progress. They do not pause at achievement. The hunger grows fiercer, the dream grows louder. The vision sharpens into something undeniable. This is the moment where the spark transforms into fire, where the climb becomes a race against history itself, and so the story pushes forward not in a straight line, but in a storm. Victories and defeats intertwine, creating a rhythm of triumph and struggle that only the strongest can endure. This is the rise before the rise. The foundation laid not in comfort but in chaos. And in that chaos, the figure once invisible is now impossible to ignore. Because greatness cannot stay hidden forever. It will break through the noise, it will silence the doubt, and it will stand taller than everything that once tried to keep it down. The rise has only begun, but already the world feels that something unstoppable is coming. Something that cannot be denied. Something that will soon be named the greatest of all time. Asterisk. There comes a moment when the whispers turn into roars. The silence that once sheltered the struggle breaks wide open, and suddenly the world is watching. What was once ignored is now undeniable. The rise has taken shape, and the figure who trained in shadows now stands in the light. This is where history begins to notice. This is where moments stop being fleeting and start becoming immortal. It does not happen gently. The spotlight is harsh. The crowd is unforgiving. The world does not welcome greatness with open arms. It tests it, attacks it, dares it to fall. Every eye watches for mistakes. Every hand waits to point. Every voice longs to say, "See, they weren't what we thought." The climb to the top is no longer against obscurity. It is against expectation, against doubt sharpened into steel, against the weight of history itself. And yet, instead of breaking under the pressure, the fire only burns brighter. The same determination that once survived in silence now roars like thunder. Every step forward becomes a moment. Every strike, every victory, every defiance of the odds becomes a piece of something larger, a story written in sweat and defiance, a story. The world cannot look away from the defining moments arrive. The impossible challenges, the ones designed to break, become fuel for glory. Rivals arrive, stronger than ever, but each is met with the same unshakable resolve. Battles rage, some lost, some won, but each leaves behind proof of something undeniable. Greatness is no longer just a possibility, it is a reality. What was once a dream is now a force. The once hidden name is now spoken with awe, with fear, with respect. And then there are the nights, the unforgettable nights that shape legends. The roar of a stadium too loud to silence, the lights burning like fire in the sky, the weight of the moment pressing down like the heaviest of storms. The world holds its breath, waiting to see if the rise was only temporary, if the dream would crumble under the weight of reality. But instead, reality bends. The figure in the spotlight delivers, not once, not twice, but again and again, until doubt has no voice left. Each victory carves deeper into history. Headlines scream, crowds chant. Generations watch, realizing they are not just seeing a competitor, but a phenomenon. The battles are no longer just wins or losses, they are symbols, markers of time, proof that something extraordinary has taken root. These are not just achievements. They are monuments built in real time, standing tall against the winds of doubt. But with greatness comes something even more dangerous than failure: expectation. Now, every step is a test, every moment a trial. The world demands perfection. Every flaw is magnified, every stumble broadcast to millions. And yet, in the face of that unbearable weight, the fire refuses to die. If anything, it grows. The figure does not run from expectation, they confront it, challenge it, and use it to climb higher still. This is the transformation, the turning of a name into a legend. What was once a hidden dream is now a symbol. What was once a solitary struggle is now a global story. The world has witnessed not just skill, not just talent, but something rarer: the will to rise again and again, no matter the cost, and so the defining moments do not end. They build, one upon another, like stones in a monument that will outlast time itself. The silhouette of greatness is now clear, towering, undeniable. The rise is no longer happening in silence. It is happening in front of millions, and yet the journey is not over. For even at the height of triumph, the hunger remains. Even in the face of immortality, the battle continues, because the greatest of all time is not crowned in a single moment. They are crowned in every moment, every fight, every step forward, until history itself bows and admits, there has never been anyone like this before. Asterisk greatness does not stop at victory. Victories are moments, greatness is forever. And forever is forged only when one dares to rise higher than anyone before, when one dares to carry the weight of history on their shoulders and still keep climbing. This is the final test, the point where skill meets legacy, where triumph becomes something more than a trophy, more than a fleeting cheer. This is the point where a mortal becomes myth, where a competitor becomes the greatest of all time. The climb to this peak is unlike anything that came before. It is not just battles against rivals anymore, it is a battle against the impossible itself. Time becomes an enemy. Doubt lingers even after victories. Every eye in the world demands not just greatness, but perfection over and over again. And still, the fire does not fade. Still, the hunger refuses to die. Every roar of the crowd is answered with action, every challenge answered with defiance. The stage grows larger, the stakes grow heavier, but the figure in the center stands, taller with each test, as if born for this very storm. There is no turning back now. The legacy has been written in pieces, each fall, each rise, each battle, but now the final chapters unfold. These are not just wins, they are miracles made real. These are not just performances, they are memories carved into generations. Every motion, every strike, every victory is no longer just for the self, it is for everyone watching. Everyone who has ever dreamed, everyone who has ever been told, you cannot. And so the world begins to understand. This is no longer just one person. This is a force, a symbol, a timeless truth. The stadiums roar not only with applause but with reverence, because they know they are watching something that will never come again. The crown does not appear suddenly. It forms slowly, piece by piece, with every impossible triumph, with every defiance of expectation. And then, at last, it is undeniable. The throne belongs to them. The crown was waiting for them all along. But here is the secret that history often forgets. The greatest of all time is not simply the one who wins the most. It is not the one who never falls. It is the one who refuses to stay down. The one who carries not only their own dream, but the weight of those who dream after them. The one who shows that greatness is not an accident, not a gift, but a choice made every single day. In silence, in pain, in fire. As the dust settles and the cheers echo into eternity, a truth remains. This story is not just about one person. It is about what is possible when limits are broken. It is about what happens when a dream outlasts doubt, when a fighter outlasts fear. Legends fade, but greatness lives forever. And this greatness, this rise, will echo beyond time, inspiring those yet to come, reminding the world that the throne of the greatest of all time is never truly about power. It is about resilience. It is about sacrifice. It is about becoming more than the world believed you could ever be. The stage darkens. The echoes remain. And in that silence after the storm, only one truth stands tall. History will never forget. The name is carved. The legacy is sealed. The rise is complete. This is the story of the GOAT, the one who walked through failure, endured the shadows, defied the impossible, and claimed the throne not just for themselves, but for all who dream to follow. Greatness lives forever.